Honorable Nasi Tambo, Minister of Foreign Affairs, thank you for coming. Thank you for honoring us. Um, I waited for Honorable Brian Matula, but he's not here because he needs him. We need his electricity and light in order to Honorable Halima Daoud, Deputy Minister of Health. Honorable Owen Jamaica, Deputy Minister of Local Government, Unity and Culture. I forget your name. You're welcome. Yeah, I know, but I forget the name. Sorry. So welcome, and thank you for coming. Our dean is not here today because she's busy with preparing the coming of our guest. My colleagues, ambassadors, high commissioners, and diplomats. His Worship Richard Banda, Mayor of Lilongwe. Honorable Atupele Muluzi, former minister. Our friends and partners from media houses, valuable guests here present, all protocol observed. I'm very grateful to all of you for honoring this invitation to take part in this significant event despite your commitments. Thank you all for supporting an ambitious and committed young journalist and writer. Your participation means a lot and reflects your strong solidarity with young people and strong interest in combating the phenomenon of human trafficking. I won't talk about the book. The author himself will do. We'll talk about his story, of his baby, maybe perspectives and his vision, his approach, and challenges that he faced when he faced or translating the problem of human trafficking into work of art, which is a global problem thriving in stable and impoverished regions. Some of my friends ask me why I'm organizing a book launch when I'm a diplomat. What are the objectives and what are the benefits of organizing a book launch for not a very known author? But my mission here is obviously to work towards strengthening bilateral relations and deepening cooperation between the Sharifian kingdom and the warm heart of Africa. But in my view, we need to make an extra effort, an extra mile outside the traditional diplomatic box to better serve both countries and interact in a positive and fruitful way by exchanging views, expertise, and experience with Malawian society, in the same way we are doing this evening. Human trafficking affects millions of victims worldwide. Collective and intensive action is therefore necessary to achieve a common and effective tools and mechanism to combat this issue. When Hope Banda contacted me to ask if I could do the same for the launch of Dr. Greg Mill's book, Rich State, Book State, he did so with a warm Malawian smile, and his name also evoking optimism, hope. I immediately agreed, and my colleague Noman Kobe, let's see. And also my friend Norb Gospel Kazako, DG of Zodiac, also agreed to take part in the event. For my part, I agreed because I'm inspired and impressed by the warmth, peacefulness, and welcoming character of the people of Malawi, the depth of their relationships, and the strength of their solidarity, their remarkable patience, and gifted optimism. I agreed also to raise awareness of the complexity of a human trafficking issue and shed light on the challenges associated with human trafficking and initiate constructive dialogue among stakeholders to combat this serious violation of human rights. Support youth and the younger generation. Young people are the driving force and the most effective factor in a continental development strategy in line with his with the vision of His Majesty King Mohammed VI and the agenda of the AU, African Union. Africa is a young continent, and investing in the youth is a key factor in shaping Africa's future. You can't tell a tree by its roots, and Malawi by its vibrant youth. Then promote, encourage, and motivate the general public to read and write. This is in line with the Morocco's African vision and also in line with the IU roadmaps for the 2024 theme, educating an Africa fit for the 21st century, building resilient education systems for increased access to inclusive, lifelong, quality, and relevant learning in Africa. That's what we are doing now. Now, blending education, culture, and diplomacy. Also bringing our peoples, cultures, civilizations, and economies closer together to promote African unity, support peace, security, and stability, and create a climate conducive to Africa's economic development. This is the cornerstone of His Majesty's vision for united, developed Africa. With this in mind, we are planning to organize a number of events in partnership with the IOM, UN, as well as with other stakeholders, such as Lake of Stars Malawi Arts Festival. I'm thinking of African Film Week with the African Group ambassadors, and why not an African Book Festival? Marrakesh has just hosted the second edition of the African Book Festival. Before concluding, I would like to thank all of you and those who contributed directly or indirectly in the success of the events. And Zikum.
Allow me to invite for a reading from Mr. Raymond Ligambale. Please welcome him as he comes up.
Excellent, the guests of honor, excellencies, honorables, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I knew Mr. Chawala Banda years ago. He was my student at ABC, and I'm happy that my fellow lecturers are here, because every time we saw him, we thought we were seeing greatness. Am I lying, Dr. Kaplongera and colleagues? And I can tell you that that greatness has not deserted him. As I read chapter 15 from the book, you are going to agree with me that the young man is brilliant. Maybe not a young man anymore, maybe a man. Okay. Chapter 15, the fight for justice. Detective Martin Chikoti had always been a man of few words. His lean frame and steely gaze concealed a determination that ran deep, forged by years of serving as Visanza's quiet guardian. In a kingdom where crime was rare, Chikoti was known for his meticulous attention to detail and unwavering dedication to duty. It was a life he had chosen, even though it sometimes felt like a quiet existence in a world that seldom whispered secrets. Naomi Mware, on the other hand, was everything Chikoti was not. Vibrant, tenacious, and unapologetically outspoken. As a journalist for the Star Times, she had a reputation for digging deep into stories, often where others fear to tread. Her natural curiosity was both her greatest strength and her greatest weakness. It was an ordinary day when their paths converged. Naomi, in her trademark red scarf and oversized glasses, had arrived in Visanza, chasing whispers of a story that had captured her imagination, an unsettling tale of disappearing children, a hidden trafficking network, and a complicity of those in power. Detective Chikoti's office was a wooden space tucked away in the corner of Visanza's police unit. It was cluttered with case files and a fading map of the kingdom with marked colored pins denoting various investigations. The detective himself sat behind a wooden desk, his brow furrowed in concentration as he pored over a stack of documents. Naomi's entrance was anything but subtle. She burned through the station's cracking door, her camera slung over the shoulder, and a determined glint in her eye. It was a moment stamped in Chikoti's memory, a whirlwind of energy and a purpose against a backdrop of his orderly but uneventful life. "I'm looking for Detective Chikondi," Naomi announced, her voice carrying across the room. Chikoti glanced up, his eyes meeting hers. He didn't say a word, merely gesturing to a chair opposite his desk. She took it as an invitation and settled into the seat, her notepad at the ready. "I've heard there's something dark happening in Visanza," Naomi began, her words a profound presence in the room. "Children disappearing, families torn apart. I want to know the truth." Chikoti studied for a moment before nodding. "What have you heard?" Over the following hours, their conversation unfolded like a dance, a cautious, sometimes awkward exchange of information and insights. Naomi shared what she had uncovered in her research, while Chikoti offered guarded snippets of the investigations into the mysterious disappearances. It was clear their objectives were aligned: seeking the truth, exposing darkness, and ensuring justice prevailed. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows in the room, they made a silent agreement. Together, they would peel back the layers of secrecy that shrouded Visanza and confront the unsettling realities lurking in the kingdom's darkest corners. In the days to come, Detective Chikoti and Naomi Mwale would become an unlikely yet formidable team, their determination and unique skills setting them on a collision course with a network of traffickers and corrupt officials. Together, they would uncover the secrets of Visanza, unearthing a story that would not only test their resolve, but also redefine the destiny of the kingdom they called home. As the days went, Detective Chikoti and Naomi Mwale, I'll take that again. As the days went by, Detective Chikondi and Naomi Mwale's alliance deepened. They met in the shadowy corners of Visanza, sharing their findings and hatching plans to expose the truth that lay hidden beneath the calm facade of the kingdom. Chikoti's passive demeanor masked a sharp mind and uncanny ability to navigate the complexities of Visanza's tight-knit community. He discreetly questioned witnesses, piecing together a troubling pattern of disappearances that extended beyond the kingdom's borders. Children, teenagers, and even young adults had all vanished without a trace, leaving their families in agony. Naomi, with her relentless pursuit of the story, had developed a network of sources that extended far beyond Visanza. Her articles published in the Star Times had already begun to draw national attention to the plight of the missing children. She had an unyielding determination to bring the darkness to light and see justice served. Their collaboration led to a breakthrough. Sarah had uncovered a name, Mwene, whispered in hushed tones among the villagers. Mwene, it seemed, was a sinister figure at the center of the human trafficking network that ensnared Visanza. Chikoti's contacts within the police force, they began to piece together the shadow world of Mwene's operations. One evening, as they met under the cover of darkness in a secluded corner of Visanza, Chikoti handed Naomi a carefully wrapped package, a collection of evidence and testimonies that implicated Mwene and his network. It was a risky move, one that would expose Chikoti to potential retaliation from the traffickers, but he was determined to see justice served. For Naomi, her eyes filled with mixed gratitude and determination, vowed to protect the evidence with her life. "We will expose Mwene and those who are complicit," she declared, her voice filled with unwavering determination. Their journey into the heart of darkness had just begun, and they both knew that it would be filled with danger. But Chikoti and Naomi were united by a shared purpose: to unveil truth, to rescue the victims, and to hold those responsible accountable. In the weeks to come, their relentless pursuit of justice would take them deep into the shadows of Visanza, where they would confront the disturbing realities of human trafficking and corruption head on. Excellencies, the guests of honor, excellencies, honorables, and all of us. If this is not greatness, then you tell me what it is. Thanks so much.
Well, as we continue on with our afternoon, I would now like to invite up for a keynote coming in from IOM, as I already shared what the work that IOM is doing around the world, especially when it comes to human trafficking. We will be hearing from Nomagugu Ngube, who is the Chief of Mission for International Organization of Migration here in Malawi. Now, just a bit about Nomagugu Ngube. She has been working with IOM for more than 15 years in various capacities within the fields of migration, health, and migration management. And she has previously served in Zimbabwe, Nigeria, South Africa, Zambia, with her most recent posting in Zambia as Chief of Mission. Ms. Ngube has over 20 years experience in community development and public health, covering different aspects in public health, migration management, migrant protection, and research spanning several countries in Southern Africa and beyond. Please give a warm welcome to Nomagugu Ngube.
History would have us believe that slavery actually ended many years ago. However, the reality is that what we know as human slavery simply morphed into present-day human trafficking, which is a sinister criminal enterprise which lurks daily in our midst and lures many unsuspecting victims into its path. From the headlines, we hear of such stories as 90 victims of human trafficking rescued from a refugee camp in Malawi, 5 arrests made. This was a headline story on the 9th of June in 2022. Or, Palombe police arrest 4 people for human trafficking. Again, a story that appeared on the 2nd of October 2023. Yet another one, Malawi struggles to repatriate alleged abused girls in Oman, 19 August 2023. And the most recent, court gives Chinese nationals 6 years for human trafficking, the story that appeared yesterday. All these stories have a common theme. They are stories of perpetrators who sought financial gain by commodifying human beings for their nefarious purposes. These, however, represent just the proverbial tip of the iceberg. There are many more stories such as the story of Mwai, the character of our book, Taken, that often go untold. The stories of men or women who are tricked into making treacherous journeys to South Africa or any other country, or the young girl who has been lured from a rural village to Lilongwe or any other city with vivid promises, false promises of a better life, only to find herself languishing in back-breaking servitude or sexual exploitation. Their stories often remain untold, and their lives permanently shattered under the yoke of modern-day slavery. Having had the privilege of reading the book Taken, the aim of my speech this afternoon is to sound a call of action against trafficking in persons. And let me give you 3 reasons why we all must act against trafficking in persons. First, the whole world, including Malawi, took a bold step to abolish human slavery. Section 18 of the Malawi Constitution guarantees every person the right to liberty. Human trafficking actually then goes contrary to this provision, undermining victims' rights to free movement, to benefit from their labor, to engage freely in whatever enterprise they choose, and some even pay for it with their lives. The second reason, the ILO estimates that traffickers make up to 150 billion US dollars each year from their business. To put this number into perspective, human trafficking, if it was a business, would be ranked 43 amongst the world's most profitable businesses. Not just in Malawi, globally it would rank 43, ranking on par with the renowned financial institution, JP Morgan Chase, and just 3 points above Mitsubishi Corporation. The numbers speak for themselves. Thirdly, acting sends a very strong signal to traffickers that we will not look the other way while this crime continues, and we are determined to take action to end it. The Malawi Trafficking in Persons Act imposes a penalty of up to 14 years imprisonment for perpetrators of this crime. That is a clear message from the government that this is something that will not be tolerated. So today, in whatever position you find yourself in, take a stand and act against trafficking in persons. Whether you're a journalist, you're a legislator, of which I see so many in the House this afternoon, a development worker, a diplomat, or whatever your sphere of influence. We must all act to root out trafficking in persons. For if we don't speak up, one day the person who will be taken, will be your son, your daughter, your neighbor, or your friend, and indeed even yourself. And there'll be no one left to speak up for you and to take action on your behalf. As I step down, I want to ask each and every one of us to make a pledge to do just one thing to lend our voices to the fight against trafficking in person. Will you be a community crusader against trafficking in persons, like Sarai, the mother of Mwai, our character in the book? You decide. On my part, I pledge to keep using my platform and my voice to amplify and educate against trafficking in persons. The time to act, ladies and gentlemen, is now. And so I urge all of us to action. I thank you, our host and our guest of honor, esteemed guest. Over to you.
Hope Banda is a talented young man whose passion for storytelling is unmatched and also matched only by his dedication to social justice and advocacy. Armed with a Bachelor's of Arts in Mass Communication as well as a Diploma in Mental Health Studies, Hope's educational background reflects his diverse interests and commitment to understanding the complexities of the human experience. Throughout his career, Hope has continued to expand his horizon, acquiring a wealth of knowledge and expertise in various fields, from obtaining certificates in social dialogue and industrial relations, emergency readiness and response, transformational leadership, project management, to monitoring and evaluation. His relentless pursuit of learning underscores his commitment to effecting positive change in his community and beyond. Now, in recognition of his academic excellence and dedication to his craft, Hope was awarded the prestigious Japanese government scholarship. Please give him a round of applause for that. The esteemed scholarship has provided him with the opportunity to pursue his master's degree in media design, and he will be doing this Keio, is it? Keio, yes, Keio University, a renowned institution which is known for its innovative approach to media studies, beginning April 2024. I'm saying it like that because Hope and I actually work together, and I'm really going to miss him when he goes away. I've been counting down and I'm saying, April is not too far from now, but he is brilliant and he truly deserves the award that he got there. Hope will embark on his exciting new journey of his academic journey, where he will further refine his skills and expand his understanding of intricate interplay between media design and storytelling. As a seasoned journalist and acclaimed author, Hope's writing career has begun and has been marked by a profound dedication to amplifying the voices of the marginalized and shedding light on pressing social issues. His literature works include Little Roar, I Burnt My Suicide Note, and Honestly, How Are You? Honestly, how are you? That's a tough one to answer, but that's one of the books that he wrote on. And these have garnered widespread acclaim for their emotional portrayal of the human condition and unwavering commitment to truth telling, which is so difficult, but he's managed to pen that down. Through his words, he seeks to ignite conversations, inspire change, and spark a collective movement towards a more passionate, compassionate, and equitable society. Ladies and gentlemen, the man of the hour.
Thank you very much, the Director of Ceremonies. I think she deserves a round of applause herself. All right, allow me to ride on the salutations provided to me. Guest of honor, Honorable Nancy Tembo, Minister of Foreign Affairs. Honorable Halima Daud, Deputy Minister of Health. Honorable Jane Sandeza, Minister of Gender. Honorable Owen Chomaniga, Deputy Minister of Local Government, Unity and Culture. His Excellency Abdel Kader Naji, Ambassador of the Kingdom of Morocco. Ambassadors, High Commissioners, and diplomats here present. Honorable Tabo Chakaka Nyerenda, Attorney General. Honorable Grace Malera, the Ombudsman. Brigadier General Charles Kalumo, Director General, Malawi Department of Immigration. His Worship, the Mayor of the City of Lilongwe, Richard Banda. Bakar Duncan Mambo, President of the branch of Mohammed VI Foundation of African Scholars in Malawi. Honorable Atupele Muluzi, President of the United Democratic Front. Honorable Gospel Kazako, Managing Director of Zodiac. And by extension, Dr. Chikosa Silungwe, former Attorney General. Fellow members of the Fourth Estate, the press, here present. The faculty from my alma mater, African Bible College, you're welcome. Distinguished invited guests, family and friends, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Allow me to extend my sincere gratitude for your presence this afternoon, for gracing this particular gathering. It makes me feel so humbled and nervous a little bit, because I had never envisioned this day to come when I can stand in front of esteemed guests like yourselves. But today we are gathered here this afternoon, not only as witnesses or spectators, but as participants in a journey through the pages of Tekken. In the heart of this narrative that we share this afternoon lies the heartbeat of humanity, the tide and the flow of darkness and light. A tale that transcends the boundaries of Visanza, where we sate our story, and resonates with the beating hearts of us all. As I stand before you, I am reminded of the power stories hold, the ability to shape our perceptions, the capacity to challenge our beliefs, and of course the power to stir the very essence of our existence. In Tekken, we find ourselves diving deep into a story that mirrors the shadows we confront in our world, shadows that often hide in plain sight, testing our compassion for others and the strength of our unified responsibility. As the ink flowed to my paper that time, which is the only thing that I had, and the golden thread of Tekken unfolded in the quiet recesses of my imagination, I found myself compelled by a fervent desire to give voice to the voiceless. In the hushed whispers of reality, I heard the echoes of untold stories, of lives obscured by the shadows of trafficking in persons, a predicament that hunts the vulnerable and preys upon the innocent. Now, motivation is a very unpredictable muse, as some of you might know it, and it often emerges from personal experience and collective empathy. Thus, the genesis of this novel stems from encounters with the silent cries of those ensnared in the snares of trafficking, stories buried beneath the weight of indifference and societal apathy. Ambassador Eleanor Roosevelt's words, "Where after all do universal human rights begin?" in small places, close to home, so close and so small that they cannot be seen on any map of the world. Yet, they are the world of the individual person. These words resonated within the corridors of my consciousness. Thus, in the seemingly small village of Visanza, where we set our narrative, I discovered a metaphorical microcosm reflecting the broader struggle for human rights. The characters in Tekken, distinguished guests, are not just figments of imagination, but rather amalgamations or displays of strength distilled from the tales of real-life survivors. The journey of Detective Chikoti, for example, the steadfast commitment of Judge Mangan Malamba, the courage embodied by Jobo, and the silent strength of Sarai all find their origins in the faces and stories of those who have braved the evils that we discussed this afternoon. This novel is more than a literary endeavor. It is a manifestation of the collective responsibility that we bear as storytellers, as keepers of human experience. The statistics that paint an ugly portrait of over 40 million souls trapped in the clutches of human trafficking demanded more than just a hasty acknowledgement. They beckoned for a narrative that rises above the pages and permeates the collective consciousness. Now I'm pleased to announce that in dedicating 40% of the proceeds from this launch to raising awareness about human trafficking and supporting victims and survivors of trafficking in persons and immigrants, my aim is to transform words into tangible actions. It is a call to arms, a plea for a world where empathy triumphs over apathy, where the echoes of darkness are drowned out by the resounding chorus of justice and compassion. Now, on a lighter but important note, allow me at this juncture to introduce to you a remarkable team that has worked tirelessly behind the scenes, breathing life into this event, and of course into the narrative that we celebrate today. Their dedication and creativity have transformed a mere book launch into an immersive experience. If you can look back a little bit, you'll see some young people standing at the back there, and also those that are standing to my right. I would have loved to bring them in the front, but I think we don't have enough space here. But I just want to tell you that if young people are given an opportunity to prove themselves, they can do it, and they can do it really good. Now, as we embark on this literary expedition, let us not forget the global echoes of human trafficking and the shadows that persist in the corners of our society. In the words of Martin Luther King Jr., injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. The pages you're about to hold in your hands this afternoon tell a story that goes beyond borders, echoing the universal call for justice and compassion. Therefore, our honored government ministers and ambassadors here present, and all distinguished guests, your presence underscores the importance of addressing these issues on a global scale. As we immerse ourselves in Tekken, let it serve as a catalyst for dialogue, advocacy, and collective action against the darkness that haunts the world. In the spirit of collaboration, let us join hands to amplify the voices of those who echo through the pages of this novel, voices that demand justice, voices that champion resilience, and voices that herald a brighter future for all. Finally, I must express my deepest gratitude to those whose support has illuminated this literary endeavor. This moment right here, where we stand at the cliff of unveiling a world veiled in darkness, would not have been possible without the steadfast support of our sponsors. Therefore, a heartfelt thank you to the embassy and the ambassador of the Kingdom of Morocco. I think we can put up a round of applause for him, whose generosity and commitment to the arts have paved the way for this grand gathering. Your belief, Your Excellency, and the power of storytelling to effect change is a lamp that lights the path toward a world where compassion triumphs over indifference. This alliance between literature and the Embassy of Morocco attests to the universality of human stories, going beyond borders and resounding in the chambers of our shared existence. Additionally, profound appreciation to the International Organization for Migration, whose invaluable support has breathed life into this venture. The IOM's dedication to addressing the global challenges of migration, including what we discussed this afternoon, trafficking in persons, aligns seamlessly with the ethos of Tekken. In a world where borders may separate us physically, our shared commitment to justice and compassion binds us together in a collaborative pursuit of a better tomorrow. I also extend my heartfelt thanks to Zodiac, where I work, for their unwavering support. Also, I think we are live on one or two of their channels right now. For their unwavering support in amplifying the echoes of our narrative, we say thank you. Their commitment to shedding light on crucial societal issues, including trafficking in persons, also aligns with a core message in this novel. Through their channels, our voices ring not just within these walls, but reach far beyond, fostering conversations that matter. So to the Embassy of Morocco, the IOM, Zodiac, thank you for being more than sponsors. You are partners in this shared pilgrimage. Your contributions have not only made this book launch possible, but have amplified the collective call for justice. May our collaborative efforts spark conversations, inspire change, and leave an indelible mark on the canvas of our shared narrative as a people. Thank you for being part of this profound journey, a journey that goes beyond these pages and resounds within our collective hearts. Enjoy the voyage through Tekken, and may its impact linger even long after the last page is turned. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you for coming.
There are untold stories of the ER, sons and daughters of drunken men and prostitute mothers taking care of themselves in barely furnished homes, grandmothers becoming fathers to cover up the mess of men who refuse to take ownership of their own, rapists branding themselves as prophets, charlatans playing the role of politicians, young girls riding in cars and swimming in money and hashtagging blessed. Oh, Africa, what is this abomination you have become? History tells tales, African tales tell tales of peace. Lands flowing with milk and honey, gardens filled with fruit of every kind. Adams tending and toiling the soil. African tales tell tales of families gathered around fires, dancing to the rhythm of the African drum. But now, take a look at our present day status. No longer is the scorching sun symbolic of this holy land. We've consulted one too many sangomas, and now this dark cloud rests over us. There is no magic to undo this wicked spell. Oh, my dear descendant, untangle yourself from the obsession of conversing with your ancestors. Instead, immerse yourself in the presence of He who created Father Abraham. Read about kings, Daniel. Bow your knee, and 3 times a day pray. Oh, Africa, may God restore the glory of your former days. There are questions sitting steady on our tongues, ready to burst forth. Unspoken realities buried underneath the rubble of our hearts, ready to erupt. Unbirthed desires impatiently somersaulting within us, ready to come to life. But then we're told, hush now. Speak not a word, dear child. Calm down. Lift not a finger, raise not an eyebrow, ruffle not a feather. Quieten down. Do you not know the way of the African is to suffer in silence? Have you not been taught we wear our strength by hiding our pain? Is it not clear we've learned to live in chaos? Elevated toxic masculinity, propagated voiceless femininity, passed on a copy-paste identity, dear child. I'll tell you. Question not the faults of our forefathers. Entertain not the thoughts that to challenge the systemic ways of doing things. Simply walk in the silence, submissive, silent, unobjecting. For this is the only way respect is understood in these streets, and that is the only way you maintain that melanin on your skin.
These tears, these endless tears, how long will they fall and sin? Oh, these tears, these endless tears, and how long will they fall and sin?
Today, he came home and touched me. And it reminded me of a time when your touch sent electricity down my spine and butterflies fluttering through my belly, when just the thought of your fingers pressing themselves on me brought color to my cheeks and awakened the sleeping hairs on my body. I remember when your touch was everything I longed for, but that was then, when we were young and in love and giddy, when you finished my sentences and promised me the world. I wish I had known what you meant was sleepless nights and endless fights and fists and blood and hours of covering up bruises and scars I could never have imagined, would never have seen it coming. I was blinded. They say love is blind. I was captivated by your relentless pursuit. Tell me, how did I see fantasy through your facade? How did you get to the pulpit of my heart? How did I willingly sit and receive your gospel lies? I'm tempted to blame the church for selling me dreams of a Christ-like dying to self kind of love. Dying to self. This love has killed me. I have watched you rip away layers of my flesh, and with each blow atrophy my soul. I do not know what beauty you see through the skeleton, for all that's left of me is bones, no skin, only bones. But then again, I've come to know the diabolical nature of abusive love. Within you is a bipolar mechanism. I've got to tiptoe around you. I've been made a prisoner in my own, in our own home. But like every other godly woman, I attended all the Proverbs 31 masterclasses. So I get up before dawn and clothe myself with strength. And daily I whisper these words. God, I know you hate divorce, but can there be an exception to this covenant when blood is involved?
Oh, these tears, these endless these tears, these endless tears. And how long will they fall asleep?
It is my prayer that through the conversations that we're having this afternoon, endless tears of victims would no longer go unseen. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to ask you to stand for a moment of silence for the lives that have been lost due to human trafficking, gender-based violence. And in the moment of silence, I'd like for each one of us to quietly make a commitment. What part are we going to play? Thank you. As we continue on with our afternoon, please allow me to invite to the podium Honorable Owen Jomaniga, Deputy Minister of Local Government, Unity and Culture.
To the author, what is your intention? That's a question I asked him. What is it that you want to achieve? Then he responded to say, no, what I want to achieve is to achieve awareness in as far as human trafficking is concerned. That's what he said. Respect to the guest of honor, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the hosts, the Charge d'Affaires for Morocco, and the mayor of the city, and all protocol observed. First, let me appreciate what the Republic of Morocco has been doing in as far as arts and culture is concerned in Malawi. The kingdom. We are a republic. So. Yeah, but we want to appreciate what you have done this far in as far as your commitment to arts and culture in collaboration with the Republic of Malawi. And also let me appreciate all the sponsors who have made this possible. Why we're interested as a Ministry of Local Government, Unity and Culture is because arts matters and culture matters. That's why we are very much interested, and that's why we could not afford not to be here. We are here because we want to celebrate the book that has been written, because it is telling a story. One Martin Luther King said, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. And one of the things that matter in this republic is human trafficking. That thing, it matters. And why local government are concerned? Because it hits at the greatest unit of development, which is a family. As you could see, the young lady was saying, there are silent cries out there. Families have been disintegrated. Families have lost their daughters and sons to a point that such families and the social fabric of villages has been dismantled because of human trafficking. That's why we are very much also part of this, to celebrate. I even asked him, how old are you? And he told me, he said, no, I'm 28. I said, yes, you are the best person to tell this. It's high time our stories need to be told by ourselves. And one lady, Chimamanda Adichie, said something about stories. He says stories matter because the stories have been used to dispossess and to malign. Stories have been used to empower and even to humanize. Stories can break the dignity of people, but stories can also repair that broken dignity. That's why when our stories are told by our own, they are better stories. I would be very surprised if the kingdom of Morocco was to bring somebody to tell our stories. But we are happy when these stories are being told by the sons of Visanza. We are very happy. Because these are the people who can tell our stories. Because they will speak about these stories in full. One Pan-African writer also said, half-spoken, half-told stories, they become stereotypes. And the problem with the stereotypes is not that they are not true, but they are incomplete. So when our own tells a story, we are happy. I want to remind the people who have gathered here that as a republic, we are moving towards, we are looking for a nation that is self-reliant, inclusive, and worth by 2063. And I always say, we want that in our lifetime. Mainly us who are within your age range. Mr. Writer, sir. So as we are pursuing this, inclusivity and self-reliance is only based on self-belief, mainly on stories that have been told correctly. So we cannot be self-reliant if our stories are not properly taught. And one of the enablers in as far as this 2063 tale is a mindset change. And there's one thing that is written there which I always love, and I want to read it before you. We shall be united, patriotic, and proud people that believe in our abilities and are active participants in building our nation towards real international goals, international development goals. Now, I love this part which says that believe, the people, proud people that believe in our abilities, the people that are active participants in building our nation. We cannot believe in our abilities if our abilities are not properly spoken of. We cannot actively participate if we are not present. We have people who have been trafficked out. They would wish they come back and participate in this journey towards a self-reliant, inclusive nation, worthy nation. But they are not. Now, here's a man who has taken his time, and I asked him, what made you, is this true or false? And he said, it's inspired by true stories. Those are the stories we are looking for. Stories that empower. Stories that brings forth the repairment of our dignity as people. And also stories that spurs to do something. So this book here we are celebrating because it's talking about the story, bringing us into a world of reimagination, understanding, and even granting identity to our being. There was one man who wrote a book, those of you who did economics, you remember there's this book is called The Great Transformation. It was written by Karl Polanyi. In this book, there's an issue about culture which says that the growth of the market economy is affected by how the people who are practicing that market economics behave and how they are moving up and down and the process of moving such people. Yes, human trafficking has not only left people crying out there, not just women crying, but it has also distorted the way of life of many. Social disintegration, that's why the writer is saying that within the framework, the way of desire is that we should have hope to fight against despair, pursuing truth within ourselves. That's why we love this book. Why we love this book? Because it is granting us an identity. And it is calling upon everyone to participate, to be aware that human trafficking is an issue. I know most people, they don't love this because it does not have its Chichewa version. Eh? What is human trafficking in our language? And as a cultural ministry, we are also interested that some of these terms that are very real to the fabric of our being as a republic should also find space within our linguistics. What is human trafficking in Sena? What is human trafficking in Chichewa? Kubagwa wantu. I don't understand. But human trafficking is a real issue. But if we can't explain it in our own language, it becomes non-existent and everyone feels like it does not exist. But it does exist. And it has destroyed our process of development. You see, our development is decentralized. It starts from the village. Now, when villages have lost its inhabitants, and I'm very glad, and we are very glad, because culturally, it has been the old who have been talking about stories of our being. Here's a 28-year-old who is still within the definition of who is a youth, talking about our story. And this story has been spoken because it is mostly the youth who are affected by this. Have we ever heard a 65-year-old being trafficked? Rarely. So we are losing out in human trafficking and sex trafficking locally and internationally. Those that matter most to our people. The age bracket of 12 to 35, the youth. So when the youth tells about this story, it must concern us. And we need to do something. We need to do something. So, sir, respects to you. This is very great. And all of you have taken part, because in the worst case scenarios, just to say, no, the minister should help us. But you see, here are the kind people who have also come to support you. And in closing, let me say that it is the commitment of the government through our ministry also to make sure that such stories are told. And they are made relevant to our progress as we are moving towards such a self-reliant, inclusive, wealthy nation. Why? Because many are not included. Many are excluded. And many are not self-reliant. Many are dependent. That's why we also talk, when we talk of local government, culture and arts, we also talk about rural development. You know, a bigger chunk of our people are in the rural setting. And most of those that are being trafficked are those that have been cheated, that we are going to the urban centers and we are going to take care of you. So it has created despair to the rural setup where their only daughter, their only son, who was the hope of the family and hope of the community. You see, some of us who grew up in the village, we are not sent to town just because we are standing for our families. No, we are sent to town because we represent our villages. Now imagine the whole of me if I was trafficked. But with these few remarks, let me reiterate that we are very committed and we are very excited as a Minister of Local Government when arts is including stories that matter. And such stories like these ones, because these are stories that affect the community fabric. These are stories that are affecting community development, rural development, the social fabric of our people. We can't talk about a revolution that will bring our people and emancipate them fully if we can't talk about those that are being trafficked. Even this gender violence the lady was talking about, it's because some of these wives have been trafficked. They are forced marriages, local trafficking. But we are very glad when young men take part and talk these stories. And in as far as arts, we are working so hard that arts should be relevant to the livelihoods of our people. And this is real arts. Telling a story that matters. Telling a story that is very relevant. I think we should clap hands for this man. Thank you very much. I will not take much of your time, but we really appreciate all the contributors who have made this possible. And as government, we are very much committed also to see to it that arts is very relevant to our human progress in as far as the Republic is concerned. May God bless you, and may God bless this young man from Visanza. And God bless this Republic. Thank you very much.
I'm looking to have us just share the key issues, but I think first I'll start with a question for the Malawi Human Rights Commission, just so we have an idea of what's happening within the country when it comes to human trafficking. What are some of the key spaces that we are looking at? Where are the real issues right now? What is our status?
Thank you so much. I'll start by saying that human trafficking in Malawi is a very big problem. I think there are so many examples that have already been cited. Maybe my focus is to look at what are some of the drivers or sectors as well as players that facilitate human trafficking. So you see to it that in one, we can also link it to the issue of internet, social media, and other platforms, where some victims actually fall prey to issues of human trafficking because of their involvement on the internet, Facebook, and so on and so forth, where false promises actually are being put forward. Secondly, let me link it to the issue of job opportunities. I think most of the victims of human trafficking from Malawi are actually lured into human trafficking because of the promises of employment elsewhere. And in most cases, these unbelievable job offers actually can make anybody fall prey into it. So it doesn't matter who you are, whether you're educated or not. And we have examples where some high-profile people actually have ended up being trafficked, not here in Malawi, but I'm aware that in South Africa, for instance, an honorable member of parliament was almost trafficked in South America. So these things happen, and all of us can fall victim. Thirdly, I would like to link this issue with issues of cross-border transportation. And this is directly linked to issues of trafficking and the issues of drug trafficking as well. So human trafficking and the drug trafficking